Welcome. In case some of you don't know me, I'm Stephanie Lee, an evidential medium, and I review books that have led me on my spiritual healing and my awakening path. This month, I'm digging deep to give you a review about this book called Unfinished Business. And I know you can't really see this because it's backwards, but it'll give you an idea, and then I'll post it as well. The author is James Van Praagh. He is my mentor and my mediumship teacher. And this book really opened my eyes to thinking about my own unfinished business with people in my life. I mean, it's a great book and I love it. And I bought it. I first bought it out of my Kindle, and then I loved it so much I was like, I need it in hardback because I'm such a tactile person. I had to be able to touch it and go to the page that I wanted to go to. So basically, I'm going to break this into 4 different parts. It's going to be emotional baggage, do unto others, I can see clearly, and your new life. So this book is a compilation of James's wisdom and learnings along the way from all the readings that he's done throughout his life. So let's start in with emotional baggage. So guilt, big emotional baggage. The guilt that surrounds death can be painful and difficult, and it's really hard to handle sometimes. You think to yourself, was there something I could have done? Is there something I could have done differently? Should I have done something more? Should I have done something less? James goes on to talk about a woman that he had a reading with, and she was feeling like she could have done more for her brother. But her brother came through and said that it was his decision to come back to Earth at this time and to try and beat his addiction because he died of an overdose. So it was his whole path. This was all of his journey, and this is what he was supposed to do. And because he could not beat it, he'll have to come back again and again to finally overcome that addiction. And then he'll move on to his next life lesson. But this reading with James allowed his sister to start the healing process, to know that there was nothing she could have done differently to help him, and that this was his journey and this was his lesson to learn. So it let her rid herself of the guilt, and she no longer had to carry that around with her. So the other big emotional baggage is a regret. Regret, like guilt, keeps us focused in the past. So the next reading is about a mother who disowned her son because he was gay. And she did this based on her religious beliefs. So his aunt, his mother's sister, was receiving a reading from James. And the son wanted to pass along a message that he had forgiven his mother for not being there for him and disowning him. And his mother carried a lot of guilt after his passing, and she soon learned that her religious beliefs were no longer serving her, and she became a huge AIDS activist. So we have these regrets when we lose someone before we have a chance to make amends over these shattered feelings. It's not easy to think, it's easier to think, well, what could I have done? What did I not do? If I would have just accepted him for who he was, then how would it be different? How would that relationship have gone? And it's always about learning how to be less judgmental and be more accepting of others. So in conclusion, guilt and regret can last for many, many years after somebody's passed. But your loved ones really don't want you to carry that. They really, really just want you to be happy and know that they're there for you on the other side, watching and guiding you. So here's what I'd like you to do if you want to. Sit quietly in a room. Just make sure there's no distractions, no children running around, husband running around. Just it's you quietly sitting in a room. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about all the guilt that you've had. And it might not be over someone's passing it, but it could just be guilt in general, right? So I want you to pretend that there's this huge suitcase, and we're going to put all the guilt in the suitcase, all of it. We're just going to pack that thing all the way to the top. We're going to shut it, zip it up. We're going to take it outside. And outside our front door is waiting a huge Greyhound bus. And there's a gentleman, the bus driver. He's sitting there and he's opened up the baggage door, and you give him the suitcase, he puts it on the bus. He closes that door, he gets in, and he drives that bus away. And you see all that guilt just melting away. You just are able to let go of all of that. And as you learn how to let go of that, drop that baggage off, let it drive away, you can then start that healing process. And you can start just having that freedom of not having all that guilt on your shoulders. So I want you to think about that next time you're feeling guilty about someone who may have passed, that is their journey, and that they love you, and that love is universal. Even after they pass, they're still loving you and watching over you. So I hope that was helpful today. We will continue the other sections for the rest of the month. And if you would love to have a reading with me, I would be super excited. Go to my webpage, stephanieleemedium.com, and you can schedule a reading with me. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye-bye.